Okay, a very good morning. Let's start the session for today. A warm welcome to our board masters, Brother Huang, Hualien Dharma team, brothers and sisters around the club to Saturday Hualien Dharma talk. Today I would like to share Master's words of wisdom accepted by Sister Xin Qing. On peaceful mind, Dharma continues. Uphold the aspiration to deliver sentient beings. Even if speaking to the assembly feels laborious and not smooth, and when sharing is heard but not responded to, leaving subtle unease in the heart, we must still speak the Dharma for the sake of all. Only then can the mind be at peace. Between the speaker and listener, there must be mutual accomplishment. The one who speaks must clearly understand and take responsibility for their own mind, while the listener must cultivate patience, diligence, and earnestness in seeking the Dharma. Knowing well that speaking is not easy, if we were to pause again, would we not let this precious day pass in vain? Therefore, we must seize the present moment, uphold our aspiration, and deliver sentient beings. Now, let us send our sincere prayers into the 10 directions. May the Saha world be free from disasters and peace prevails in the world. Let us sing the prayer song with sincere piousness.
Why no sound now?
Oh, okay, sorry. Thank you, Sister Suching.
In
May all minds be purified. May there be peace in the community. May there be no disasters in the world. Together, we pray for universal love and blessing. With a loving respect, gratitude, and confidence, let us wish every person in our lives a healthy body and enlightened mind, and total fulfillment in universal love. Now, let us expand this consciousness to include every person in the world, every being in the universe. May this wonderful world even better. Let us all immerse ourselves in the joyful embrace of universal love. Before we hear the wonderful sharing review of Wondrous Lotus Sutra, let us invite board masters to lead us in paying homage to Triple Gems. Let us pay our respects for these teachings and explanations to the Buddha and Master Ching Yen by making 3 sincere bows. Please rise, palms together. First bow, second bow, third bow, and a bow to our beloved board masters who could join us today. We have 3 sharers today, Brother Joe, Sister Yuan, and Sister Ying Fan. Before we proceed with the sharing, Sister Suching will give us the summary of last week's sharing. Over to you, Sister Suching.
Thanks so much, Sister YY. Okay, hold on. Okay, so last week we had 2 speakers. The first one is Brother Joe, helping every person behind prison walls bring simple morning light. Every person deserves kindness in the darkest, lonely night. Brother Joe guides us to see that all beings are equal. Life story continues with a very hopeful new sequel. Expansion happens through a friend who shares a simple story. We do not seek out worldly wealth or corporate power glory. Affinity drives the way our global family will truly grow, planting seeds of wisdom where the gentle healing waters flow. Observe all changing things with a very humble, quiet mind. Deep inside the infinite meanings, many hidden truths we find. The world is shifting with every second, like the summer weather. We must learn to bring our scattered, wandering thoughts together. Look at what has happened before to understand the present day. Wisdom helps us see how future shadows start to fade away. Do not calculate your personal gains or bitter, heavy loss. Carry your compassion like a bridge that suffering souls cross. Avoid the clever traps of the busy stock market machine. Keep your internal spirit very calm and peaceful and serene. Start upon the right foot and the path will surely appear, walking toward the Buddha nature without any doubt or fear. Then we had Brother Pauru all the way from the US. 60 years of kindness marks a cycle in the universe. A digital gift of Dharma is what we now rehearse. Brother Bauru leads 500 friends in a holy task, seeking for the wisdom that our clever human egos mask. 4 daily actions help us build a very steady routine, keeping our intentions focused and our mental garden clean. Chant the Buddha's name and fill the bamboo bank today. Let our master's story guide our steps along the way. Do not simply listen to the radio or scroll the screen. Write down every lesson that your active eyes have seen. Internalize the teachings until they become your own breath, finding a wisdom life that will survive even physical death. Quantum physics show us how our karma makes the world collapse. Wisdom is a boundless state that bridges all the heavy gaps. Enter the Dharma sea where no limiting conditions ever bind, leaving every selfish thought and heavy burden far behind. Our Master affirms that this is the direction of the right path, sustaining our practice away from worldly noise and bitter wrath, tailgating the energy to find the long way back home, no longer like a lonely person left to wander and roam. Okay, Kan'en, and thanks for listening. I'll stop share and hand over to Sister Moon to introduce our next speakers. Over to you, Sister Moon.
Yeah, thank you, Sister YY and Sister Su Ching. Good morning, brothers and sisters, and to our guest sharers, Brother Joe, Sister Yuan from Singapore, and Sister Ying Fan from Malaysia. Welcome to yet another Saturday heartwarming session. We are, of course, happy yet again to have Brother Joe's company to help us, to help guide us to better understand the lessons held within the pages of the Sutra of Infinite Meaning. Of course, we are particularly happy too because this is a long holiday for us here, I'm sure in many other places as well. So it's a very relaxing kind of weekend. A lot of people maybe are not around as well. It is also a very busy time, I believe, for Tzu Chi people. All Malaysian brothers and sisters, a lot of them are in Lumbini, helping with the opening ceremony there of Tzu Chi Jingsi Tang in Lumbini, and preparing for the 60th celebration, I think in more than 30 venues all over the world, right? So, Brother Joe, over to you, and thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Moon, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, and I think it's something that we cherish. We cherish the way that we're able to see each other, share with each other, and the way that we are sort of building this collective experience and collective memory together. And I think with each step of milestone, with each step of a important milestone, that we are able to collectively build our shared history. And I think it's important. That's why Master always tells us to remember, to not forget, because the more that we remember, the more that we're able to draw upon this past experience, which allows us to grow and to have a better perspective of the future. Thanks to Sister Moon for reminding that even though, I think this is very interesting, even though that time is busy, that we would always be able to find solace in perhaps sometimes a little break, perhaps sometimes just, a long weekend or whatnot. And sometimes when we feel that it's all peace and safe, that we also need to recognize that all the things around us are moving at a very fast pace. So in the blink of an eye, Tzu Chi is already marching towards its 60th anniversary. But to master, and this is something that I, witnessed firsthand, in whichever venue of reporting, whether it's sitting down, whether it's standing up, whether it's walking around, whenever we speak of the 60th anniversary, whenever we speak of any major events that we're holding or major activities that we're doing, that centers around the 60th anniversary or the Buddha birthday celebration, Master always remind us, and you could see in her expression, you can see in Master's tone, you can hear it in her tone, that this is not what she wants. And I could understand that. I don't know if I could feel the same way, but I could understand why Master feels this way. Just the other day, yesterday, I was reporting to Master how starting Monday, next Monday, all the way through Saturday, our global morning volunteer assembly, we're going to feature a special theme for the 60th anniversary. And every day there's going to be one main theme, and we're going to be talking about the past, the present, and the future. And so that's only going to be for this coming 6 days. And this is a very special morning assembly that's different from the past morning assemblies that we have had. And Master's main goal was, all these are fine and good, except please don't make a hassle of it. Don't make it so that a lot of people has to come and go just to complete this, just for the sake of 60th anniversary. And Master then, sat down and she reminded me again, what's more important is that we are centered on the things that we are cultivating, that we are learning, that we're not doing all these things just because it's 60th anniversary. And I understand that. I think that in terms of spiritual practice, it is something that's very grounded. Every day is just like any other day, that we recognize the change, we recognize the need, we recognize our responsibility, and we recognize our action. It's very, very deeply rooted in every day to be able to walk on this very solid foundation. It's not because of 60, it's not because of 80, it's not because of 90, it's not because of anything. It's because every day we are living and breathing at this moment. We're living to the fullest, and we're learning, and we're cultivating, and we're practicing spiritually. And she wants us to make sure that we as practitioners, we recognize that, and I see that. I see that Master wants us to not overburning ourselves all for this day and then slowing down. She would rather that we keep pace and making sure that we're advancing, steadily. And that's what she would like. So, but we as ordinary beings, and this is something that is very true, that we focus on the particular, New Year's Day. Therefore, we have New Year's resolution. We focus on birthday. On this day, we appreciate our life, and we appreciate, our parents for bringing us into this world. Does that mean that we appreciate them less on other days? Perhaps. Perhaps we need these days to remind us of the things that we should be remembering every day, every moment. And that is not the way of the practitioners, that every day is just like any other day. Things are changing. It's forever impermanent. But it does not mean that the way that we carry ourselves should change because of today, because of tomorrow. It should be the same every day, the way that we carry ourselves. So, but it's unfortunate, and I see that I wanted to explain to Master, but I knew that it wasn't going to work. And so she always tells us that don't make a hassle. Don't just be having a lot of people coming in and out, right? So the other day, so it was also yesterday, that somebody was reporting that in Malaysia, that there's going to be this 10,000 people, 20,000 people that's going to be in Buddha bathing. And this is wonderful. Buddha's birthday celebration. This is wonderful, right? And I hear this all the time, that our groups, whether it was the staff or it was the volunteer leaders, we're all gearing up, right? We're all doing this. And you could just see in Master that she likes and enjoys hearing people being inspired. Yet every time the number comes up, right, 10,000, 20,000, this is going to be big, and everybody should reach out to 5, and all these ideas. This is wonderful. This is good. And she always tells us, right, that this is, don't put a number on it. The more you put a number on it, you're putting a restraint on yourself. Don't strain yourself. She knew that and she saw she heard stories where volunteers were, they're really giving them of themselves, and sometimes they're not doing well, physically, but they're still doing this. And she was thinking that, this is going overboard. It's okay. Don't just be trying to shoot for a number. And then when we get there, we slow down. It's like you're trying to study for a test. And after you finish the test, right, you sort of give everything back because you're gearing up, you're piling you're stuffing all this knowledge into your head, and you're just preparing and you're just cramming for the test. And after the test, everything is done, and you sort of don't remember what you had studied. And that's usually how we as ordinary beings work, right? That's how we work, because every day, every special day carries a special meaning. And that's not what Master wants us to feel. But that's just the way the society works, right? So we human beings, ordinary beings, work. And this is what Master wants to remind us. Yet you could see in everyone, including ourselves, that it is very difficult to do. It is, even if you know it, and what would you do? What would you do? So, and yesterday, these couple of days, it's going to be very, very special, right? Today, our brothers and sisters in Lumbini, and we know this, right? Today at around 9:30, there's going to be this online call, where there's going to be a sort of a ritual, sort of a special door opening moment. And just like we also had one yesterday, there's all these places, right? There's going to be 3 this week. One was yesterday, Penang, right? They had a groundbreaking ceremony yesterday. And today it's going to be Lumbini. And maybe sometime next week, it's going to be Philippines. And so, and we could see that this is going to become the norm, that it's a special day, it's a special occasion to gather people. And I'm sure Master was very moved. Master was very touched by all the heart and soul that was poured into it. And we just need to know that she would rather us to be, a very, to plant our foot on a very solid ground. Now, if we do this every day, she knew that it would be impossible, because we would be so tired and strained. Actually, that's not what she wanted. She wanted us to be, having a pace where we can pace ourselves. So that we should know this. We should know, right? We should know the aspiration that Master wants us to have. She's not telling us that we shouldn't do all these things, but she's telling us that this is where she wants us to be. So we should make our own decision, or we should make our own amends to make sure that we are marching toward that. All right. So that's what I open with that, to sort of continue what Sister Moon was saying. And I see that, I think that, and today we'll be going through Lumbini's opening, the opening ceremony, and we could see through the Dai television, right? Dai TV, where, we see all the preparation, all the very, very amazing work. It's amazing, Last year, 2025, you would not imagine something like this happening, right? That place, the entire architecture, the entire people working to make it happen. Now there's a replica of the abode there, and the entire surrounding, the entire way that it seems so familiar. It's just going to be just like any other Tzu Chi campus in the world. Now it's appearing in Lumbini, right next to this, this international historical heritage. I mean, this is amazing, right? You wouldn't imagine this 5 years ago. You wouldn't imagine this 10 years ago. You wouldn't imagine this last year, but now it is there, and it's today. It's going to be grand opening. So it's like dream for Master. It's like dream come true, and everybody pour their heart and soul into this, and that's going to be a very special, very, very, very special day. And I hope that we remember this day, for it's going to be one of the very important days. And as a practitioner, Master tells us that that's not how we should do, right? We should view every day as a very important day, and we should pace ourselves. Don't let ourselves, you can imagine that after this day, people are going to need to relax, need to slow down, need to rest because they've been going out day and night trying to make today happen. But in any event, I think Master appreciates and definitely, loves all the work that people have put in just for this special day. As a practitioner, I keep on going back to this. We should know that this is what Master wants to guide us. And she's not saying that we shouldn't do it. She's just telling us that the way that she preferred. All right. So I feel like, sometimes the truth hurts, but I don't intend this to be hurtful. And I think Master definitely grace us with this joy that she genuinely feels when today the groundbreaking ceremony is going to happen. She definitely grace us with her gratitude. This is all true. However, just as I mentioned, that all these people are coming back for this very particular special day, Master will always tell us that, this is not what she wants. She wants us to, come back, obviously, but not because of the special day, because you want to come back. And you will come back normally, not because of the special day only. And obviously, this is the change, a slight difference in the heart. That's exactly what practitioners do. They look at this very small parts where that's the key of spiritual practicing. All right, so I'm going to continue. I'm going to skip out of that topic. I'm going to get into the Sutra of Infinite Meanings. All right, so we've been talking about preaching, the chapter on preaching, and we've been talking about the questions, that the Buddha was answering one Dharma door. And we talked about observing, right? And not just observe externally, but also observe internally. We talk about being humble to be able to observe, to be able to receive all the teachings that we observe with these mindful eyes, with mindfulness, that we're able to understand that all the things around us are changing. And empty and still is two extremes, right? Empty and still. Empty means it's you don't have a fixed form. Still means nothing changes. It's always there. So it means that it's a duality, right? You always see something. It's always something in between, completely empty and completely still. And what this Buddha was saying was that we should not be fixed on only one, because it's actually anywhere in between, right? So that's what this means, right? So when you observe, you don't hold a particular fix on this is always going to be the way it is. And you don't always fix on it is never going to be the way that it never will be. It's sort of somewhere in between. Sometimes it fixes, sometimes it's fixed, sometimes it moves around. So that's just the way it is. Okay, so that's what it means to be humble, right? When you are not humble, when you are sure, when you are certain of the things that you're observing, that's when you fall into the trap. Okay, so that's when we fall into this observing without mindfulness, because you're thinking that this is it. This is gotta be the way it is. Okay, so this is what Buddha was explaining, right? It's like air, it's always flowing. It's like cloud, it's never the same. And when you say the cloud looks exactly like this, well, then you are making a wrong statement, because the moment you said it, it's already changed. Okay, so that's what this Dharma door is really talking about, that you need to observe with mindfulness, because things are never the way that you see them to be. You have to be very, very careful, very, very humbly when you're observing, especially with people. Okay, so to be further into empty and still, it talks about that the past, the present, and the future. And this is always a very important theme in Buddhism because it talks about what has always been, in the past, and what is what it is right now, and what it will be in the future. And for Buddhist teaching, we understand that there's always this affinity, there's always this karma. Where there's cause, there's going to be a result, an effect. Cause and effect always comes hand in hand. So what was a particular cause will become what is right now the effect, and what will be the future of this effect in the future. So in effect, that this particular effect becomes the cause of the future. So we understand this, right? So this is what the Sutra of Infinite Meaning is telling us. Why things are always changing, because the causes and the conditions are always sort of floating around. It's not always the same the way that you think it is, and the conditions are changing, fluctuating. Therefore, the effect is going to be all sorts of factors that's contributing to how this thing is going to turn out. So once you understand this rule, once you see this way, then you now are in control of the way that the rule works. You understand the rule, then you can go with the rule. You can understand how the things work, then you can go with the flow. That's what it means. That's what One Dhamma Door is telling us, that now that you understand, you observe first, right? You observe, you do not fall into this ordinary delusion where you are thinking that you could be in control. This is something that you observe. You see the pattern. You work with the pattern, and you thought you're in control of the pattern. That's when you fall into this delusion. So Buddha isn't telling us to take reign, to be in absolute calculating what this is going to be. Like, you start to think about the cause and effect. And then you start to think about, you understand the law of cause and effect. Now you start to abide by the law of cause and effect. Now, the next step is that in our delusion, we are going to be calculating this, and we're going to be the ruler of cause and effect. That's not right. That's exactly what the Buddha is explaining. You first observe, right? We're a scientist. This is what we do. We observe. We make patterns. We observe the pattern. We understand the pattern, and we begin to follow this pattern. We abide by the pattern, and this is all good so far, until one day we realize we can rule over this pattern, and then we're going to be changing this pattern. We're going to be putting our effort into this, and we're going to be calculating how this and that's going to turn out. So we're going to do a certain things to make sure it turns out a certain way. That's when our delusion comes in, because now we're thinking we can manipulate this, we can calculate this, and the unwholesome thoughts arise, and then something evil happens. This is what this is saying. You observe the pattern, you follow the pattern, and you do what's necessary. You do what's right. You're not going to be presiding over this pattern. You're not going to be controlling and calculating over this pattern. That's the cause of all kinds of suffering. So it's amazing, right? This is something that's, I think, deep psychologically. We see this. We see something, and it's very natural. It's a very natural tendency for us to understand, to observe, to understand, to realize how it works, and then we're going to put our hands into it, so that we are now becoming, the puppet masters of destiny. That's when evil karma and all kinds of suffering begin to happen. So, but then you look at the other way. Isn't this what the Buddha wants us to do, right? Is to take control of our destiny? Yes, but not the way that our ordinary being's delusion, because of anger, because of greed, because of delusion, we are going to guide this, calculate this in an unwholesome way. But rather, the Buddha wants us to guide us so that we know the rules of karma. We know the laws of nature. We know the laws of cause and effect. So that we use it not for our advantage, but for us to spiritually cleanse our mind so that we are no longer, we are going to make sure, as Master always says, right, in our eighth consciousness, that we put only good seeds in there. So then the good seeds will grow into good plants, good future, good garden that's in our mind. This also works together with this law of affinity of cause and effect. But this is working with this idea of purging, of cleansing our mind of all these not so good, evil thoughts. And that's what the Buddha is guiding us. Imagine this, right? So this all makes sense, right? The more you think about this, if Buddha were the master of finance, then the Buddha would be telling us, look, well, observe all the trends, all the things that you see in the market, right? If Buddha were the master of finance, then he would tell us the same thing. Observe and don't think that you know what's happening with the market. And then you're going to find a pattern. You're going to find a pattern and you're going to be able to know that you could use this pattern to make a lot of money if Buddha were the master of finance. But Buddha is not. Buddha is the master of spiritual cultivation. His end goal, his objective is to bring us to this ultimate joy, this nirvana, where we could live or we would be in a state of bliss, of joy. So how would you do that? Well, observe. You observe where all these negative things come from. And then you understand the rules, and then you follow the rules to get rid of all the causes of unhappiness. That's where this is. So if you come here and say, well, aren't you working? Aren't you calculating so that the law of Dharma and law of karma works out for your objective? Well, this is exactly where he wants to guide us so that we see the law of cause and effect, and we understand. But we are going to be suffering if we follow the rules of karma and use it for something that's going to give rise to suffering. So he's telling us, don't do that. Instead, use this law, understanding of the law of cause and effect, so that we could find joy. And isn't that what the Buddha was trying to help us to get rid of all the sufferings? And that's exactly what this is. So, sometimes we just need to let it out and get an understanding of what the Buddha is telling us. This is very logical, very understandable. And we get into the suffering because when we see this law of cause and effect, and we realize in our very smart self, we realize that we can calculate it, we can use it, we can manipulate it so that we have something to gain. And Buddha tells us, even though you might be successful in getting what you want, that is the cause of suffering. Instead, seeing the law of cause and effect, we understand. So we could use it to cleanse ourselves. That's the better way to go. Not observe and really get this, see the pattern, and then we do something for our gain. That's not going to be helping us because that's where we're going to get all kinds of suffering. All right, so this is a very important segment in the sutra because natural thing that follows from observing, you're going to see pattern. And when you see pattern, you're going to be one to, if I do this, I can get that. And if I do this, I can get that. Well, if I do this, I will be able to get that. Well, that's the source of suffering. But rather, if we know where we are was because of where we did what we did, then we're able to go back, to trace back, and we will be able to find that unwholesome thought, and we'll be able to eliminate that that would be the source of happiness and joy. All right. That's what Buddha was trying to guide us. The Buddha was trying to get us to get to this joy and happiness that we so easily detracted because of our unwholesome thoughts. All right. That's the sharing for today. And I hope we'll be able to, you know, um, you know, get something out of this on this very special day. So I still wish that everybody, we will be able to, later on today, we'll also all get online and we see our brothers and sisters' hard work in Lumini, and we will be able to, celebrate a very special day, a very special milestone for all of us, for all of Tzu. Thank you and have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Brother Joe. I like this, comparison between the stock market, observing a stock market and manipulating the stock market. It's much easier to relate and to understand, that the importance of observing and then going with the flow, so that you don't disturb nature and that you do not make decisions contrary or to control situations, which actually we are always deluded into thinking that we can control it without dire consequences. And of course, I think that Brother Joe, in particular, I think this morning, I would like to thank you in reminding us that, that Master's great wisdom in reminding us that we should not be so busy that we lose our stillness in the real objective of all these events and activities, and that is to cultivate, right? And this is a great message for us this morning. Brother Joe, thank you very much. And before you leave us, perhaps sisters and brothers, we can all switch on our video for a group photo together this morning. Then, yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sister YY. Thank you, Brother Joe. We move on to our next sharer. It's very interesting to note that many of our sharers nowadays are very young, vibrant TC members, actively and confidently contributing through many youth programs, locally as well as internationally, in the international arena. But in order for them to be effective, in order for them to serve effectively, a lot of effort is made to design programs. I mean, it doesn't just happen naturally. It don't just happen by coincidence. It doesn't happen by accident. So there is a lot of effort made to design programs such as the IYLP, International Youth Leadership Program, to mold young adults into change makers. So let us this morning take a listen to Sister Yuan's journey to better understand the focus of these programs and to give us very energetic and inspiring young minds. Over to you, Sister Yuan from Singapore.
Hi everyone, I'm Yuan. I'm from Singapore. Sorry, please give me a minute to share my screen.
You will give a brief introduction of yourself as well?
Yes, definitely. Sorry, can you guys see my screen?
Not yet? Yes. Yes, we can see it.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Yuan from Singapore, and today I'll be sharing my story of about my journey from being a total like stranger to Tzu Chi and a youth in Singapore, to getting to know about Tzu Chi and starting to volunteer with Tzu Chi as part of a delegate from the International Youth Leadership Program, and the different opportunities that I've had since then through Tzu Chi, to get to know about how to help different communities all around the world, and to step out of my comfort zone to grow as a volunteer. So this will be the brief outline of what I'll be sharing today. First, let me introduce myself. So I'm Yuan. I'm a Year 2 Political Science and Southeast Asian Studies major and Environmental Sustainability minor at NUS. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because um I want to share about how later on, like, my interests have also been able to help shape the way that I've participated in Tzu Chi events. So actually I just got to know about Tzu Chi I think at the in as part of last year's IYLP program. So that was running from in 2025. So the reason why I got to find out about Tzu Chi was because I actually live really close to Tzu Chi Singapore's Humanistic Youth Centre. So it was a very organic encounter where this is part of the HYC's facilities. So I went there to study, and I actually just encountered like this poster about the International Youth Leadership Program that Tzu Chi is running. And what the IYLP is essentially like a program for youths, I think aged 18 to 30 years old, where they could try to cultivate to reach out to different youths in Southeast Asian countries, or actually all around the world, where they have an active program where you come in like totally fresh-faced, and then we have about like 8 to 9 months worth of like training and education. So every month, for example, we will learn about a new UN SDG, and this will involve like sharing, as can see here from like the global team, about not just like Tzu Chi's initiatives, but also like what uh what are the different initiatives that we can kind of consider to fulfill different UN SDGs. And I think through this program, I actually learned a lot about Tzu Chi's initiatives in like Mozambique and in Philippines, and we got a lot of opportunity to hear like not just from Tzu Chi, but also kind of like different representatives like UN SCAP. And yeah, it was actually really insightful, because not only did we get like this kind of training in having like presentations and listening into seminars, but we also got to discuss with a lot of our fellow delegates all around the world. And so through the IYLP that I actually got to know a lot of different people, especially like even in Malaysia and the US, and made a lot of friends. And so I think this also inspired me to kind of take on like the action and practice, which is a like essential part of IYLP. Essentially, we have like a self-initiated and self-led like group or individual project, where the IYLP delegates can choose to create their own initiative. So for me, me and my friends kind of decided to create this thing called Ecoscape, and this is an sustainability themed escape room. So I'll share more about it here. So for our A&P Ecoscape, what we really wanted to do was to kind of address like this problem that we see in the youth around us, like in our friends, which is that we really feel kind of like disconnected from like large scale climate issues and climate action. And this not necessarily because of a knowledge gap, but rather this kind of like climate apathy, because a lot of people feel very overwhelmed by very like strongly worded like environmental campaigns that make you feel very helpless, especially in comparison to like say like industrial waste and large scale issues. And beyond that, a lot of people also struggle to translate their knowledge into action, because there's like this difference between knowing something and also like really truly connecting with it and putting it into action in your daily lives. So our vision was that we kind of wanted to combat this climate anxiety and fatigue among youth by making like environmental campaigns fun again, and to kind of put that emphasis on having something that is like integrated into real life, that we kind of mirror something that is very like um grounded in your daily experiences, so that it doesn't necessarily feel like too distant, and you can see exactly like how you're gonna apply this knowledge in your daily life. Yeah. And so the UN SDGs that we addressed were sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, and climate action, because we had different rooms, different games within our escape room. So for example, just to give a very quick rundown, the summary was that we put the players in as kind of a young girl who wants to escape like her house and go to a concert, but her family repeatedly gives her challenges to do, like you need to clean your room, and in the process of cleaning her room she needs to organize between like recyclables and non-recyclables, and just like things like that. There's basically three different games where, let's say, we address like sustainable fashion, and also like recyclables. Yeah. And I think it's through this that we also were able to incorporate Tzu Chi's like values into this, because um oh yes, because for example, um with like filial piety, in our plot we address like this part where the mother kind of like shares with the main character about her own struggles with like taking charge of like the household chores, and how Tara's like actions are impacting not just the earth but also her family, and her individual like lifestyle has many like different kinds of consequences. And this was part of our effort to kind of like share what Tzu Chi has shared with us, which is like this humanistic culture and like this well-rounded like holistic view that something that is bad for the earth is also, it can be bad for like the people around us, it can be bad for our own bodies. Yeah, so it was trying to share that. And so these are some photos from like our from when we ran the program, and some of our achieved outcomes. So I think it was a very valuable experience for me and my friends, because we got to have like the space and the facilities provided by Tzu Chi to actually like run and like put this into action, because this kind of originated as like a school project idea by our group leader, Kaylin, but she hasn't had the opportunity to put it into to make it a reality. And so it's through IYLP that we all kind of got to know about each other, and that we were all able to contribute to like shape this project, like this initial idea. Like for example, the plot and like the game mechanisms, like they were iterated and reiterated. And a lot of it was like affected by the seminars and like the learnings that we had from Tzu Chi as well. And so it's very like it was just very interesting, I guess, to see like the kind of things that can happen when a lot of different perspectives come together, and when we have that space to kind of explore and just to play around with this. And I think from there, because IYLP is a 1 year program, so while we were working on Ecoscape, I was also increasingly getting to know more about Tzu Chi through like the HYC staff, and through like different volunteering opportunities. So for example, I went to the volunteer experiential day with like an elderly care center. And I also helped to I also helped to volunteer in the TR conference, which is linked to the IYLP. It's the Tzu Chi, International Youth Association Conference. And I think because I already kind of got to know more about kind of like the origins and like the values of Tzu Chi, I was more inspired to step up and to participate not just as a delegate but also as an MC, which was a huge leap out of like my comfort zone for me, because I've never really presented it or like spoken at such a like large scale event. And as you can see, there were I think around 200 youth participants. from a lot of different countries that flew over. I think over here, like Deborah Shugu also flew over from the US. And so it was a great responsibility and also an honor. And I think through this experience, it was really like a whirlwind because it was 3 days and it was during like my school term as well. But I actually managed to learn a lot of things from a lot of the people around me and just from having that space to experience something totally new. Uh, so we had our rehearsals I and I realized that a lot of like learning comes from kind of listening to other people because I not only did I learn a lot from my fellow MC Elena because she's very experienced, but I also managed to learn from like observing how like the other MCs are kind of leading or like responding to different changes. And I think the main challenge that I encountered was also like just how rapidly changing everything can be because like itineraries, like plans change all the time and you can't just like follow and stick to your script. So I actually realized that there's a lot of value in kind of being very like grounded in the moment and to respond to what other people need to kind of observe like if these people are not ready then other people are going to step up and how I can help to facilitate that as well. And so I also made a lot of new friends from all around the world, like different city volunteers from Burma and from Taiwan. And I think like volunteering with Tzu Chi has just given me a lot of exposure into not just like uh personal development but also like what it means to be a volunteer because I realized that volunteering can look very different from what I imagined. Like it might not necessarily be always like might not necessarily just be about doing the work, let's say, of like recycling, but also to help out for events and to be part of like this community to slowly like root yourself in it. And just to be ready to help out in whatever way, shape, or form, whether it's like for running of events or planning of events or just like trying new things. And I also I'm very grateful for like the personal learning and developmental opportunities that I've gotten. I think it's been very like infectious to be around a lot of like young people also who are striving to like pursue their own goals. I think the relationships that are formed throughout that are also very valuable. And even like just being in like conferences and seeing like the kind of discussions that are going on. Like sometimes I also I just wanted to be everywhere at once. I wanted to be a delegate and as well as an MC because I met so many like participants who had a lot of like bright ideas and who had a lot of perspective to contribute. Like for example, coming from Philippines about like disaster management. Like that kind of perspective can melt very well with like different countries. Like let's say Malaysia also has like an interest in that, but they face like let's say typhoons versus fires. I thought it's just very cool to see all of these people come together. Um and it definitely goes beyond like my university experience before I met Tzu Chi, where it was a lot of it was based on desktop research. Yeah. And from there, actually, I think um I was inspired to like take on an opportunity that was granted to like some IYLP Singapore delegates, where an opportunity was opened up for us to go to the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women. So that's a basically a UN conference that runs for 2 weeks, where like state delegates and like country delegates um will kind of discuss on key issues surrounding women. So like access to justice, and this can look like a lot of different themes. So like climate justice as like was shared over here in this talk, as well as like financial and economic justice, as well as like opportunities to kind of like or not just opportunities but also meeting like basic rights, kind of like land rights as well as the right to justice, especially when you face sexual violence. And so because the theme was so broad, I was able to sit in on so many different talks uh about like all sorts of topics, and it was a huge learning experience because I think it's something that as a political science student, I study a lot on paper, but seeing like policy be discussed and be shaped like in real life, like especially in somewhere as crucial to like international politics as the UN was very insightful. So um some things that I realized was just how much like local perspective really matters even on international matters because previously I guess I felt like oh that international policy international discussions around social rights like they would just be um kind of like the lowest possible derivative in the sense that it is just the most common like shared ground amongst like all the countries and all these societies, like the things that everyone is willing to accept, which might end up not covering a lot of ground in terms of say like justice. But I eventually realized that even if like the outcome like appears as such, but the process of negotiation and discussion is already very rich because a lot of you get to know perspectives that you wouldn't have been aware of otherwise. Like especially being from Singapore, I think I saw a lot more about let's say in developing countries or in developing regions, the kind of struggles that they face. And I realized that this isn't something that we should just consider like oh it's out of our reach and it's out of our proximity so it's less important to us. And I realized that actually just having that awareness is the first step to you as a person kind of stepping out to see how can you help even like other countries and other people there and how can you use your own resources and privilege. Yeah. And I think someone shared, like one of my new friends from UNCSW shared with me that to have to have that global perspective, you just need a local perspective. And likewise to have a local perspective, you also need a global perspective because when you want to implement like local initiatives, it's so helpful to see what has already been done elsewhere and also to keep in mind like the struggles or like the opportunities that people elsewhere have because that helps you to shape your own initiative on what you would want it to look like and what you could model it after. And yeah, it was just very heartwarming to go to somewhere as far as the US, which I've only been to once before, and to be welcomed by like a very like sweet and kind like Tzu family over there. And to learn more about the programs that they run, like even in the US, they have like I say like training and education for refugees from Eastern Europe. And I thought that it was so inspiring to see like the food distribution programs and to see how things run like on a daily basis. And at UNCSW, I also got the chance to facilitate my own panel, which I like kind of decided the topic for. And what I landed on was actually female migrant domestic workers and the girls that they leave behind. And this was very inspired by I guess not just my personal experiences because when I was growing up, I used to have a helper to help take care of me, as well as like my university experience because since I'm studying like political science and Southeast Asian studies, I got to know a lot more about like let's say like migration, as well as like social like justice matters within the region to see like how Singapore itself can also be kind of a nexus for all of this like migration and all of this like labor that actually I thought it was just a topic that was close to my heart. So I also wanted to bring it to an international arena, especially because a lot of Western countries they might face this issue but also in like different forms. But I guess for countries like Europe, not say Europe, like the US, I think that the like migrant domestic worker culture is a lot less strong. But I still thought that was an important matter to discuss, especially because I realized that the UN has a very strong representation of like Africa and Latin America, but not so much for Southeast Asia. So I wanted to bring like kind of a regional issue there. And through this panel, I got the opportunity to kind of facilitate discussions by like representatives from Philippines, Nepal, Kyrgyzstan, as well as a bunch of other like speakers on that were speaking from faith-based perspectives. So the topics of discussion were kind of like the challenges faced by these workers and by their daughters, because a lot of their like a perspective that is not talked about as much is that a lot of their daughters kind of face a lot more pressures to take on like household chores and to take on that maternal responsibility. And so like all of these consequences of labor migration is felt more unequally by women. Yeah, and through this panel, like we discussed a lot about the intersections between different countries, that even if the social, cultural, or the political environment is different, like let's say the kind of social pressures on women or on their daughters is different, or if the laws around like domestic work or the laws around migration are different, but actually there are a lot of like common threads, which would be about the importance of like legislation and lobbying for legislation, and also the importance of like a holistic intervention pathway. So all the way from pre-departure to get migrants ready for like this migration, even though it'll be an individual journey that can get lonely, but to prime them to be ready for what's next, as well as when they're actually there in the country to have like a community or to have points of like reference where they can seek help from, like points of refuge. And I guess the faith-based perspective that was inspired by like Tzu Chi and also a lot of our faith-based partners. Um, like I think over here, like there's the Tzu Chi perspective as well as from Soka Gakkai and Islam, the perspective from Islam, and I think a lot of other like the Baha'i faith as well, and other faiths like the Christian Catholic faith. Um, I think a lot of the sharings were very inspiring for me as well, because I'm actually right now I'm a free thinker, but I realize how much impact faith can have, not just on your own like individual mentality, but in the actions and like the initiatives for other people. For example, how it impacts like how you see other people, and their like their basic like essential human dignity. It can also help in how you approach people and how you treat them when you run programs that can, for example, like migrant worker support programs. And I thought that was very inspiring to see how like different faiths can also come together. So this was a personal like learning experience for me that I think Tzu Chi has helped me to look beyond what my initial worldview has been, to also see a lot of like value in this like collaborative spirit. And so, just to quickly sum up and to talk about potential like future plans that I have together with Tzu Chi. So I was very touched by, I guess, like the sharings that I had and the learnings that I had from my Tzu Chi friends that I met in New York. Because like I met a lot of the Philippines team, and they shared about like the disaster relief missions that Tzu Chi runs, as well as like restoration. So going beyond like the immediate short-term relief to also like livelihood training and other social mobility initiatives. So I actually kind of use that. I kind of leverage on these relationships to kind of connect with one of my school programs, which I'll be going on this summer, which is also a school trip that is basically global experience. As you can see here, my university actually sends maybe around 10 to 20 students every summer to go to different countries. And one of these would be in Philippines, to go to Manila and Tacloban to explore like climate adaptation and uh disaster relief like topics. And I thought that was very in line with the work that Tzu Chi does. And so I connected my professor and Tzu Chi Philippines to potentially see what other collaborations that they can have, and they confirmed it. So we'll be visiting Tzu Chi's Great Love Village uh in Tacloban, and also hearing from the Tzu Chi staff on how exactly like to support and to think about climate adaptation in Philippines. So I thought this was very meaningful engagement, especially because my prof actually mentioned to me that she already had a very good impression of Tzu Chi because when she goes down to run this program, she hears from a lot of people that Tzu Chi is one of the organizations that help them the most selflessly and help them a lot. And also just another continuation of the IYLP action and practice. We are going to be running our escape room again in the Sustainability Youth Festival. And so I think it shows like just that a lot of these programs can have a lot of like lasting impact, especially if you put in like the commitment long term. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm so absorbed in your presentation, I forget to switch on my my video. You have a very impressive CV, at your age, and I think we all wish you every success because you especially in your ecoscape, right? To people like us who has lived most of our life already. Sometimes the United Nations things look like it's a lot of talk,
Mm.
and it doesn't come down, to a doable program that the people understand and that they can actually build it into their everyday lives. So your work, for example, with the ecoscape, where you teach the children, like kind of your small contribution. Don't look at the big, I will save the world, but your own little contribution, you are already saving the world and it's manageable and you are already doing it and contributing it. And they will feel a sense of achievement, am I right? And in this process, you are learning so much about the principles of Tzu Chi because this is what Tzu Chi is all about, going to the masses and understanding the root of the problem and then finding a solution for that. And not just grandiose theories and solutions that may not work, right? So I think it is just wonderful to know that, there are young people like you representing us in the international arena and to be able to, in future, develop programs at root level that is sustainable in this way. And we wish you all the best, Yuan, in moving this forward. We hope that, you can come back maybe. Sister Suchin will invite you back to share some of your interesting program with us so that we follow and we can help you to, spread the message at different age level, not just a different economic level, but different age level, right? And it's an amazing effort. Thank you very much, Yuan, for your sharing this morning. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share. So
Yeah. We'll get you back yet. So I hope you will come back to our session one of these days regularly to update all of us. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
thank
Okay.
you.
So thank you so much. We'll move on to our next volunteer, Sister Ying Fan. Sister Ying Fan's sharing is titled Bridging Generations Through Volunteerism. It is very interesting. I know nothing about it. But the word generations, bridging generations, sounds something like I need. Because I think that, in this day and age, things move so fast, the external landscape moves so fast that it's so hard for one generation to understand the next generation and the next generation to understand the next generation. I struggle to understand my mother, my children struggle to understand me. So, Sister Ying Fan, we are looking to you for some answers today, especially those of us who are mothers and grandmothers. Welcome to our sharing.
Yeah,
Over to
thank
you.
you, sister. Oh, I'm also a mother as well. Okay, so good morning, brothers and sisters. So I'm Ying Fan. I joined Tzu Chi in 2013 and become a Tzu Chi alumni in 2015 and officially a commissioner in 2017. Okay, so usually when we talk about generations, sorry, I need to Okay, when we talk about generations, we often think about differences, which is different ways of thinking, lifestyle, and also difference of priorities. So, but in Tzu we believe, and I believe, we experience something really different, which is actually our connection. So, a connection beyond age, beyond background, and a connection that is actually rooted in compassion. So, as a Chiqing, I receive so much care, guidance, and also support from all of the seniors, like all of you here today. So today, I'm not here just simply to share what we have done in the past, but more to share what we are actually learning and how we are growing today. So, before I go into further details, so who are we? So Tzu is Tzu College Associations. We are mostly undergraduates, and our alumni, like myself, are now young working adults. We are guided and cared for by our senior volunteers, which is our Tzu Papa and Mama, or we call it a Shugu Shibo. So we come from different backgrounds, different fields, different stages of life, but we share one common intention, which is to learn how to live of compassion through our action. So, as Master Chang Yin says, Qing is a pure stream and a clear force in this era. So, we are encouraged to first purify ourselves and then bring the clarity and goodness to our campuses and into our communities. So, Qing was actually founded in Taiwan 1992 and started in Malaysia 1997. So our spirit is just guided by three simple key ideas, which is compassion, wisdom, and connection, so that we can grow our inner goodness to inspire each others. So Master always hopes that teaching as a young undergraduates, we are able to contribute to community during our spare time, cultivate compassion with wisdoms, and also learn to work with different kinds of people and appreciate everyone around us. So, in short, teaching is not only about doing volunteer service work, but it's learning about how to be more aware, more mindful, and more compassionate. So, teaching is present in countries around the world. So now we can see teaching in Nepal, India, and even Sri Lanka. And in Klang Valley, we are here. So we are here in most of the universities and college. So our regular activities, just a quick run through, include charity, educations, environmental protection, our yearly cultural exchange program, camps, seminars, fellowships, and also some gatherings and leisures. So, what we have done over the past year, especially the past 1 year in 2025, one of our main focus is actually has been environmental protection. So we noticed that many young people today are aware of environmental issues, but they often feel disconnected. They could be thinking like, yes, climate change is serious, but what can we do actually? So we do ask ourselves, how can we bridge this gap? How can we help this group of youth feel that their actions truly matters? So that was how EcoVolve, our program in 2025 began, a youth-led environmental initiative. The idea is pretty simple. We just want to create spaces where young people gather together, they can learn, experience, and take further actions. So from April to November, within 7 months, we organize a series of activities from our launch day to blogging and many more activities. So For example, this is some of the pictures of our launching day and also our plugging event. And next will be, okay. For example, like the Subway Warriors. Sorry, I need to control back my screen. Okay. Okay, let me continue. So, Subway Warriors, a metro-based sustainability challenge, which helping participants experience environmental protections in life. We do conduct some initiatives and interactive activities in some of our, you can see from the image, in some of our shopping malls, even our MRT. Yeah. And we also did work with some local conservation partners for tree planting activities. So we did also create some creative challenges which leading to some vegetarian cooking competition and experiences to promoting a low carbon lifestyle among the youth. And also we work with one of the local cafes for vegan baking workshop so that our participants can explore the compassion through food choices. Also, we beautify one of our community recycling center in Bukit Jalil by mural painting. And last but not least, we organize a 3-day, 2-night camps on sustainability with sharing. This is the first time we did invite external speakers and organization come to work together with us. So in just a very short 7 months, we had over 500 participants. So the event scale might be smaller every time, but our aspiration is always there. So we always know that if one big event, one grand event, we are unable to reach everyone. So we decided to conduct small and meaningful ones, which a small and meaningful event could connect everyone together. But out of what from what I've shared in the past 10 or 15 minutes, more important than these numbers is actually what we witness. So we saw young people who come and just wish to try our activities, but stay at the end because they found meaning. We saw participants who felt their actions were actually too small, but later realized that every small actions matters. So some even returned as volunteers for upcoming activities until this year, and some even officially joined Tzu as a Tzu member wearing the light blue uniform. So not because they were asked to, but because they wanted to. And to us, this is actually a most meaningful outcome because it shows that when young people are given the right environment, when they feel they are included, empowered, and trusted, they begin to believe that actually they can make a difference. So this is why and where bring us to my topics today. So bridging generation through volunteerism. So Tzu is always known as the youth of Tzu. It's not separate from Tzu. We are part of the same journey, a continuation of what has been built by all of our brothers and sisters here today. The values we carry today is actually rooted in the foundation that have been built for over many years. It's even over 60 years now. So our brothers and sisters, you walk the path first, and now this group of youth people, us, we continue that path. So and also try to bring more and more young people along together with us. And at the same time, we recognize something important, which is young people like us. We have energy, we have ideas, we have new ways of doing things. but we always lack of some experience, depth, or even wisdom. So this is why the connection between generation, between this group of undergraduate youth with our senior volunteers is so important. It's not about only seniors guiding juniors, but also about this group of youth learning to appreciate and carry forward what has been passed down in the past 60 years. So generations are truly connected, and not just in action, but in heart. And this is where the point, our mission can be continued. So for every event we organize, every participant we reach, every small impact that we create, there's always an unseen foundation behind it. So it's all of our brothers, sisters, your dedications, your consistencies, your years of efforts. So on behalf of teaching, we are really grateful. So we know we still have a lot to learn from all of you, and we hope to continue learning from all of you as well. So because small acts, when we done together, we do together in future, it will definitely become something much greater, and I believe it's amazing. So as we continue this journey across generations through volunteerism, uh, may we keep supporting one another. So learning from one another and walking this path together. So if you come across, you have any children, relatives, or young people in your community, especially undergraduates, we are warmly welcome you to connect with us. And just a simple sharing in coming 10th of May, the Buddha bathing ceremony, in conjunction with our Tzu Chi 60th anniversary, all the brothers and sisters will see us together with all the participants of that event will be standing in the first line, in the middle of the circle. This is to symbolize the continuation of the Tzu Chi. And also, in the coming 20 to 21st of June, we will have a youth day organized in our KL Jingsi Hall, so that stay tuned for our event posters. We'll be blasting and sharing around. So this is the first time, and this is the first year we are not conducting a 3-day, 2 nights camp, but a 2 days free and chill and simple activities, which will create a safe space for all the young all around Malaysia to come in our Jingsi Hall to experience something different. And also just another sharing is this year, August, is the first in the history that Malaysia, the whole Malaysia, from Kedah until Johor, the whole Malaysia and Singapore teaching will come together for a 3 days, 2 night, for 4 days, 3 nights camp in our Jingsi Hall. So stay tuned for all these further updates, and we truly appreciate that the support might come from all our brothers and sisters in those 2 upcoming events. So that's all for my sharing today. 感恩.
Okay. Thank you very much, sister. I think that at the end of the day, what do we get from here is that love and compassion. All right, we have to nurture love and compassion from one generation to the next generation. And basically, these are the basic principles. I mean, these are the basic principles of Tzu Chi. And that's why I think it is working so well, because of the humanistic portion of our culture. Am I right to say that? Because in Tzu Chi, when you grow up as a Tzu Chi, you are always even enveloped within your either mama and the either papa, right? And they pretty much guide you, just like your mom and dad. And I think that that reinforces the Tzu Chi principle that education is a triangular thing between student, mom and dad, and teachers, against the normal education where we leave our children in the school and then it's the teacher's responsibility, and then the teacher shove them back to us and then it's our responsibility. So there is no coordinated effort to take over from teacher, parents, and a coordinated guidance in that sense. Yeah. So that is so very important. I will pay attention to that. And I hope that we can spread this message to more people as well. And of course, Tzu Ching is doing a very good job. I have met some young people myself, and I think that they are also very interested in Tzu Ching activities or in Tzu Ching activities. I hope that I can send them to you through Tzu Chi. Maybe if they go to the program, I hope that I can do a small little bit in this way for the young people wanting to participate in something that is so inclusive. I think the word is inclusive, because when the young people feel love, I think everybody wants to feel love, then they will shine in everything they do, right? And so, yes, this morning we are very grateful for the young people, as you are very grateful to the older generation that has passed on to you, right? So we will take note of that. We still have a little bit of time. If there are any brother and sisters here who would like to take up any questions for our sharers this morning, or anything that you would like to share, we would like to open this to the floor. Do we have some?
Hi, Mr.
Hi,
Moon.
Brother
Hi, Sister
Robert.
Ying Fan.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
I think in Tzu Chi, we are ageless. Age is not a barrier. Yeah, we will cross each other's path. Yeah, and truly, I think at 90 years old, 商人 is still full of energy. Guiding us. Surging forward. So I think every time when I join and I think of Tzu Chi, I feel a little bit younger, and especially with Sister Ying Fan here. Yeah, so I think all this youth, give us more energy, give us more challenges as well, so that we can work together, work together for the purpose of objective of doing more good, for humanity. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Kanan Sister Ying Fan, for the wonderful sharing. Yeah. And of course, Sister Ying Fan, I think, is also a mother of a baby girl, isn't it? It's a baby girl? It's a baby girl. Yeah. So really move on to a more adulthood so-called stage already. But I think she still remain very youthful. Good. Continue to bring all this youth to another level. Okay, Kanan so much, Sister Ying Fan.
Well, that will be a lucky baby to have a mummy like you, right? Okay, so I think that this world is just needing more love. That's all, and this is what Tzu Chi offers. Yeah. Do I have any other brothers and sisters who would like to say something? If not, then perhaps we can close the session this morning. Thank you so much for giving us energy and vibrancy, the two of you young ladies. Yeah. If I may close this session by inviting you to stand and pay homage to the Triple Gem. Put our hands together. First bow. Second bow. And the third bow. And a bow to our beloved abode masters who were with us this morning. Right. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us this morning. Have a wonderful weekend.
And Sister Moon for the wonderful hosting. Okay. We are young. Remember, we are too young.
That's how we stay young, right, Brother Robert?
Yes. Okay, take care. Yeah,
All right, take care,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.